On the 19th of December, my Johnnix riding partner Nix and myself set out in search of a quick little adventure in the Cedarberg, a little 2-day adventure, sort of non-stop ride, to do the Cedarberg circuit, a circuit which is promoted on the Cape Cycle Routes website along with the Cross Cape Cycle Tour from Plet to Stellenbosch and a few others. It's an initiative by I think supported by the Western Cape government to promote cycling in the Western Cape, sort of off-road, gravel road type of cycling, and certainly well worth a ride. It was absolutely fantastic. We set off, the circuit itself starts from Dorpopieberg in the Ko Bokkeveld above Ceres, the other side, up over Gedo Pass from Ceres. We started in Ceres though, so our ride in total to Ceres, to Dorpopieberg, around the loop and back, was about 340 odd Ks. If you do it from Dorpopieberg, just do the circuit itself, that's nearer to 250 odd kilometers. Anyway, so the first port of call was through Prince Alfred Hamlet and then straight up over Gedo Pass. There's some pretty impressive passes on this route, I may just say, starting with Gedo Pass, the tar road pass, so there were a few trucks on there, but not too bad from a traffic point of view. But the fun really, it is tar road to Dorpopieberg, so there was a bit of traffic. The fun really starts more when you took a right. We went anti-clockwise around the Cedarberg circuit. You hook a right just past Dorpopieberg and head on the northern road towards Wuppertal. It becomes gravel not long after you've turned off. But you don't go to Wuppertal. Somewhere on the road to Wuppertal, there's a fork in the road and you take a left and you go towards, on the road that goes through the middle of the Cedarberg, probably the most popular touristy and hiker attraction. It goes past the Kromrivier, the Wolfberg Cracks, the Wolfberg Arch, and the Maltese Cross, those famous sort of attractions from a hiking and tourist point of view. So the nice thing is, while we were only riding the loop and we were doing it sort of more or less non-stop, is that you can actually make a hike of it too if you want to. Stop at Kromrivier, or book into some of the self-caterings, and you can even suspend your ride for a day and go and visit the Wolfberg Cracks and the Wolfberg Arch, which are well worth a visit. So there's things to do in the Cedarberg. It's a very popular tourist place. It wasn't busy though. The roads weren't too busy. A couple of buckies coming past here and there, but certainly for the middle of December, it wasn't bad at all. And the roads were in pretty good condition too. Now, there's some big passes, as I've mentioned. Gedo was the first one, the tar road pass. And then we went over Blinkberg Pass, big descent down 479 meters of vertical descent down to the Grootrivier, and on the Grootrivier was Mount Cedar, about roughly 100 kilometers into our ride. Good place for lunch. And that was a superb lodge. A lot of bikers seemed to stay there as well. We were just having lunch there, and then we moved on, and then straight up what was a very impressive climb, about 510 meters of vertical ascent up the Grootrivier Hoogte Pass. On to late that afternoon, the Eetcake Pass. Wasn't so much of a climb from the side we were coming from, but big downhills after that, past Algeria, a very well-known camping spot, and there's hiking trails going off from there, and northward to the northern turning point of the loop at Clanwilliam Dam. Very big dam, actually, but far bigger than what I thought it was. Now, you hook a left at Clanwilliam Dam when you reach there, and you start moving south towards Citrusdal along a gravel road most of the way to Citrusdal. On the eastern side of the dam. On the western side is the N7. Fortunately, we don't have to mix it with the trucks and the traffic on the N7. Very quiet gravel road all the way south to Citrusdal. Now, we hadn't stocked up with much in the way of food. We'd taken a fairly leisurely ride that day because in the afternoon there'd been a couple of rivers with some nice swimming spots, shallow swimming spots to cool off on. So bear that in mind too. There's some lovely stops in flowing rivers, fresh water all the way. It's very pure water, drinkable. You can refill there and have a good swim while you're at it. So we'd taken a bit of time, and we got to Citrusdal quite late in the evening. Everything was closed. We got to a police station. We thought we'd just quickly ask them what's going on in Citrusdal in terms of 24-hour garage shops. Well, to our disappointment, no 24-hour garage shops in Citrusdale. The cops said pretty much that you'd have to go to the N7, which was about 4 k's to the west of the town, off our route. We were going more east from there. Anyway, the policeman did kindly offer to drive in his bakkie and go and fetch us some pies and cokes, but Nix, who eats more like a rabbit, just on behalf of us both, just declined and said we'll be okay. Anyway, I had a big hole in my stomach that night, not having a few pies, scoffing a few pies for supper, but I survived. To tell the tale, probably good for me in the end. Lost a few kilos. And up out of Citrusdale we went in the middle of the night, up a huge climb. I didn't realize that was probably the biggest series of passes, or the biggest cumulative climb of the ride. It was not far short of 1,000 meters of vertical ascent over a series of 3 passes, which were basically one complete continuous pass: Elandskloof, Middelburg Pass, and Buffelshoek, and not far shy of 1,000 meters of climbing. The lovely thing about the Cedarberg is it's pretty, my perception is it's pretty safe. You can never say never, but there's very few people, it's very low populated, and so in the middle of the night, about 1 o'clock, the sleep monsters hit somewhere near the top of those series of passes. It was quite easy. Haul out the emergency tinfoil little fold-out blankets and put them over us and have a little bit of a kip. It was a bit cold up there, though. It was unseasonably cold that night in the Cedarberg, but we didn't have much warm clothes with us because it's summer, so it wasn't the most comfortable of sleeps, but it's doable. Just pull into the bush and have a snooze. And that's how we rode, that's how we rolled. Next morning, when the dawn descended on us, we were right near the top of the pass, down over the other side, and then somewhere along the line to Dorpopieberg, the road becomes tar again, but it's a very quiet tar road and a very nice ride, pleasant ride back to Dorpopieberg for a sort of mid-morning breakfast. There was a nice little coffee shop just off the road for a nice little breakfast, and then after that, there's a spa at Dorpopieberg as well, if one wants to get a pie and so cool drinks and so on. So that's the one town where there are shops, but also it would be closed if you go past there in the evening. And then back on the tar road, down over Gedo Pass, all the way back to Ceres. We got to Ceres we'd started on the 19th at about 6:30 in the morning, I think, and the next day by about midday roughly, we got back to Ceres. All in all, cumulative vertical ascent 4,388 meters. Significant, but not undoable. And it was, and as I say, I think we did it non-stop without sleeping over at a lodge, but the Cedarberg is littered with good places to stay over at, to book into, whether it's self-caterings, a lot of self-caterings. If you've got a support vehicle going with you with food, you can have a really fine time, possibly a 4-day trip, doing under 100 k's a day, the odd swimming spot. You can camp at Algeria if you like along the way. So it's really, for whatever you want to tailor make it, you can tour just as you please. It was really, really, really a worthwhile little mini expedition for us. A really fun time to ride on those roads. Quiet, not a hell of a lot of traffic at all, and seemingly very safe from the standard old crime problem point of view.